Hey guys, I want to go over the 400% return on Lemonade. Uh, Ideally, let's just start right off on the daily. Uh, First thing I saw was right here on the 21st, there was a big support on the daily on this guy. Right when this purple sort of crossed that red line, that sort of indicates like a high support. It didn't cross this black line, so it's in the positive uptrend still, but it's creating a support, which is pretty good. Next is, which is really big. I rarely see, uh, right now, right here, we do see a resistance because this orange line crosses this dotted line and it's below this black line, which is considered as the trend line. So right here, right when it crossed, it is at what price was that? It was at 31.30. It's 131.32, which is pretty close. So that one's a green line. So that's a heavy resistance normally. We do have a secondary resistance on this guy. So right when it crossed the like right here, when the purple crossed that blue line right here, that indicates another resistance. So it broke above 2 of the daily resistance, which was pretty strong. That one's blue. So it broke above the green, the blue, had a heavy yellow support. Let's go to the 4-hour to verify some other stuff. Right here, we have a break above the 4-hour. Right here. So that's the orange resistance. So the thing is, it's already above the green resistance, which is super strong. It did touch the orange resistance, which makes sense, and generally the new support would be this blue line right here, based on the daily resistance. Another thing, this is for continuation, but the biggest thing right here that it also broke the 4-hour resistance blue over here, which lines up with the daily blue right here. So you sort of see like right here, it broke above that resistance. So it's breaking above multiple resistance right now. Next is going into the 2-hour. I guess we'll use the 2-hour to verify the breakouts and try to see we could find a trend line. See if it breaks above. So right here, this is considered as a trend line resistance right here, where this orange crosses black line right here. We will draw a purple line that lines up right there. So initially, this would be our entry point right here, right when it crossed above this orange line. But what's sort of scary about this instance is that the 4-hour resistance, this orange line, it could stay below it. And if it stays below it, it could have like a continuous downtrend. And our main support would be like the 34 right here on this blue line. So at that point, it becomes slightly sketchy. So if I need more verification and more confidence to get into this trade, I'll probably go look into the 1-hour and see if it's saying the same thing. So on the 1-hour, we have a verification right here. This orange crosses black line. That's considered as another trend line, but that's in the hour. And we have a resistance right there. So that makes sense. So we have a resistance right here on the 1 hour. So ideally, once it breaks above the 1 hour, it stayed above it on Friday. That would be like a good buy-in price. And let's see, I think it was like a 1-week hold for this one. But the biggest thing I would have to say that the fact that it broke above this green line almost guarantees the uptrend, also along with this blue line, just based on daily, because it broke above the daily blue line and the daily green line. The only thing that's made me hesitant the most was the 4-hour resistance. So I'm in the 4-hour right now, so we do have that 4-hour resistance. But generally, if we have the 4-hour orange resistance and the daily blue resistance, which is right here, generally, if it stays above those two colors, it would have a nice general uptrend. And of course, we use the 2-hour to verify its breakout. Also, another thing that sort of helps its case is this purple line right here. As long as it stays above this purple line, that also indicates a strong support also. But could we done an early entry based on the yellow support? Most likely, based on the daily. So like right here on this yellow, let's go to the 2-hour. So normally if we have like a yellow daily support, I'd normally use the 2-hour trend line using this indicator right here. So normally once this is in a positive uptrend right here, because it's down low, that would be, this would be the black. The black is normally like an early entry, and this could be like a longer hold. But the only thing that sort of stops me from doing it is because we do have this 2-hour purple, because I do like it when it's above that. But hence, it's an early entry, and it's also on the very bottom. I think the 15-minute purple line trauma is good enough. So right when, see how it's below the purple line right here, we're in the 15-minute window, we're on broke, then it broke above, it broke this black line, and that's a hold. And the thing is, you have to be like okay holding it for like 2 weeks. And also verify and make sure it breaks above this blue resistance right here, because that is a heavy resistance also. But other than that, let's see if we can find a 4-hour support, because we mainly are talking about resistance. So we do have a 4-hour support right here, which is along the yellow. So right here, once that green crosses that dotted line, that is all considered as a support. We have another support. Let's go back to the chart. See this instance where it crossed right here. That indicates a support also. So we have 3 supports. So the fact that we have 3 supports, which is the orange, the yellow, the red, ideally you could just go off the 2-hour black trend line, and you can have an early entry, and that could be like your 1-day or 2-day swing calls. But then it had like a continuation, and to make sure to know that Lemonade will have its continuous uptrend, ideally I would want to make sure it stays above this orange line. That day, was it Friday, was sort of iffy on that day. So Monday would be oh, it was actually Thursday. So Friday was like the verification, like, hey, it's holding up above the orange line right here pretty well. And also, let's go back to the 1 hour. Let's go back making our 4-hour resistance that we had, which was right there, orange. Let's go to the hour. Normally at this point, I want to make sure the hour right here, it breaks this hour trend line, just right here. That one's the high one. So right there. So that was the hour trend line for this one. So for this indicator, I'll use black lines. For this one, I'll use purple lines for the trend line. So you can see it's sort of hovering above the trend line right here. The fact that it's holding up pretty well, that's sort of indication of making a call. Also, it's above this orange line, which really matters the most. And that's pretty much it. And after that, it was like a 1 week hold. After that first week, it did have this drop. We could have expected this drop because right here in the 4 hour, I think right here in the 4 hour, you sort of see this green line across this black line. That sort of indicates it's sort of exhausting in the moment. And also we have this green sort of crossing this black line right here. But when that happens, it generally touches the 20-day moving average. So that's why we got that heavy support. Ideally, we could have rebought on this moment. We could find an earlier indication when it was starting to have its downtrend by looking at the 2 hour, because right when you see this green line cross this black line, that sort of means it's sort of getting exhausted, and that's why we get this choppiness and this downtrend later on. But other than that, it was called. So the biggest focus was we could have done an early entry because it had 3 supports. It had the daily support, it had the 2 4-hour supports, and it broke the 2-hour black trend line. For the continuation to hold it longer, we just had to make sure it stayed above the 4-hour orange resistance. And that's pretty much it. Awesome. Thanks, guys.